Let's bring in pollsters Mark Penn and Stephen Kent. Gentlemen, thanks for being here. Mark, let me start with you. Where do you see the environment tonight as you look at these big Senate races?
Well, the environment is, I think, one that's moving closer and closer to a wave election for Republicans. I think you're seeing the top three issues be inflation, immigration, and crime. Republicans have significant leads on each of those. I think those issues are not going away. The inflation report was not helpful at all. And so the environment is certainly trending towards the Republicans.
Stephen, where do you see specific races that you point to? I'm assuming you agree with Mark.
I do agree with Mark, and it's something that just a month ago we weren't quite so sure of. You did see a very strong likelihood of a Republican wave and picking up seats that were out of Republicans' reach earlier in the year. But then when the Dobbs decision is handed down by the Supreme Court, you see abortion double in salience from a 4% most important issue to an 8% most important issue. And that spooked, rightly, a lot of Republicans who saw that now they're going to have to defend these seats and chase these seats on social issues. But what happened over the summer is that it has frozen in importance, and Democrats have not been able to raise it to the level of importance as the cost of living and the economy, which combined are the most important issue by the tune of about 36% with voters. This is a huge, huge deal and something they just haven't been able to reverse.
One of those places is Nevada, and the incumbent senator, Cortez Masto, is facing a real uphill battle, Mark, against the challenger, Adam Laxalt, in part because of that inflation, in part because gas prices in Nevada are really high.
Oh, I think you're really seeing these economic issues play themselves out. I think you're seeing some of the Democratic erosion among the Latino community also play itself out. Again, I think that was a race that people thought was going to be an uphill battle, and I think that's increasingly being put in the Republican column because of those bread and butter economic issues.
Stephen, in Georgia, Herschel Walker had a bad week, obviously. He's denied these allegations about paying for an abortion, but it's lingering, and it has affected the polls post last week. It's still within shooting distance, though, in Georgia?
It is within shooting distance. I think that just the mood in the room for the entire country helps Republicans make up for areas in which they have made huge blunders with the quality of their candidates. Now, if I can turn your attention to North Carolina, where you have two candidates who are remarkably good, Sherry Beasley on the Democrat side and Ted Budd, Republican, they sort of embody to me the opposite of the environment in Georgia, because when you have two good candidates, nobody is talking about them on a national basis, and there has been very little attention paid to North Carolina for that reason. When personalities are not front and center, then the issues are. And Ted Budd is going to be able to probably hold on to the Republican seat that is being vacated right now, probably by a win of about 1.6 points. And it's really sad for Democrats, because this used to be a state where they could perform and compete, but it has slipped away from them on everything but governor's races for the past 3 or 4 cycles.
There's another visual here, and this is the toss-ups in yellow. The North Carolina you're mentioning is in pink here. It's a lean Republican in our power rankings. The light blue is the lean Democrat. Are there surprises, Mark, that you see on election night, just looking at the map right now?
Well, look, I do think the Senate map is a tough map for Republicans. I don't really think they're going to get above 51 if they get there. I think they've got problems here in Georgia and Pennsylvania. I think you've got a number of places here that are still too close to call. But I really do think that Georgia's become a problem. And Pennsylvania, you know, Oz is close, but he hasn't proven that he can get across the finish line. That debate is going to be one important debate for the country.
You've got these races here. You've got Nevada, Georgia, and Arizona, Mark. That is a race where the Democrat, Mark Kelly, seems like he's in a good spot, but Blake Masters has been closing.
I think that's one where you've seen some closing, but it just doesn't look like Masters is going to get across the finish line. You know, it'd be really tough. I think you've seen the opposite kind of happen in Wisconsin, where it looked like the Republican Ron Johnson was toast and has come back from 6 down to 6 up. But in Arizona, I just don't think that's going to happen. I don't see the kind of momentum to really get across the finish line. Oz is much closer if a race is going to tip over here.
All right, Stephen, last word here. In our what-if scenario for the Senate, do you see, of the 4 toss-ups, a 2 pickup, or do you see the real bold pickup that it's a wave for Republicans?
I'm going to go with that. It is going to surprise us just how much of a wave that it is for Republicans. I think that there was a moment this year, particularly again with the Dobbs decision, where we thought it was going to get away from them. But there are just so many factors, the gas prices, the continued inflation problem. It's pushing it right back in their direction. And Democrats have been pouring all of their money on a national basis towards promoting the issue of abortion, and it's just not going to fly.
All right, that's where we are right now, 50-50. We'll see how it goes on election night. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you, Bret.